Welcome to Roots of Africa, the channel where we uncover Africa's hidden histories, untold stories, and the global events that shaped our continent and the world. Today's story takes us back nearly 700 years to a time when fear moved faster than armies, when cities fell silent overnight, and when death reshaped civilizations. Most people know this catastrophe as the Black Death, the deadliest pandemic in human history. But what is rarely told is Africa's role in this story, how African cities experienced the outbreak, and how the plague altered African trade, societies, and historical memory. This is the story of the Black Death and Africa's forgotten chapter. So what exactly was the Black Death? It was a bubonic plague pandemic that swept across the world between 1347 and 1351. Caused by a bacterium called Yersinia pestis, it was carried by fleas on rodents, especially rats. The symptoms were terrifying: sudden fever, chills, weakness, and painful swollen lymph nodes called buboes. For many, death came within days. Historians estimate that 75 to 200 million people died, nearly half of Europe's population. But Europe was not alone. One of the most untold facts about the Black Death is this: Africa was affected earlier than much of Europe. Many scholars believe the plague emerged from Asia, traveling along trade routes that connected Asia, the Middle East, and Africa long before it reached European shores. By the early 1340s, the plague had already reached Egypt, North Africa, and the Horn of Africa. Cairo, one of the largest and most vibrant cities in the world at the time, became a major center of the outbreak. Historical Islamic scholars like Ibn Khaldun, a North African historian, personally witnessed the devastation and wrote about how entire cities lost their populations. North Africa was deeply connected to global trade through trans-Saharan routes, Mediterranean ports, and Red Sea commerce. Cities like Cairo, Tunis, Fez, and Alexandria all experienced waves of the plague. In Egypt alone, records suggest hundreds of thousands died within months. The Nile River trade system even helped spread the disease inland, connecting ports to farming communities. Mosques, markets, and schools were abandoned. Entire neighborhoods disappeared. Along the Swahili Coast, African cities like Kilwa, Mombasa, and Mogadishu were thriving trade centers linking Africa to Arabia, Persia, and India. These connections brought wealth, but they also brought disease. Though fewer written records survive from this region, archaeological evidence and oral traditions suggest sudden population declines in several coastal settlements during the mid-14th century. Africa was not isolated, it was a core part of a global system. So why do most Black Death narratives focus only on Europe? There are a few key reasons. First, European written history has long dominated global education. Second, many African societies relied on oral tradition, which was often overlooked by colonial-era scholars. But African records do exist in Arabic manuscripts, travel accounts, and historical chronicles. Ibn Khaldun famously wrote that the plague devastated nations and emptied cities. He was describing North Africa, not Europe. The Black Death was not just a European tragedy. It was a global event, and Africa was deeply connected to its spread, survival, and recovery. Understanding Africa's role reminds us that Africa has always been part of global history, and that African scholars observed, recorded, and analyzed world-changing events. At Roots of Africa, we tell these stories because history is incomplete without Africa's voice. If you learned something new today, and this story changed how you see world history, please subscribe to Roots of Africa, like this video, and share it with others. Thank you for watching.